Dear students, on behalf of Board of Intermediate Education, Andhra Pradesh, I am back here with a new chapter of human physiology, that is body fluids and circulation. In our former session, we have gone through the circulating pathways in different groups of animals. There are open type and closed type of circulatory patterns in the animals. We also have learned the plan of circulatory system in different groups of vertebrates. Among vertebrates, fishes, they have two-chambered heart and show single circulation. Next group of vertebrates, amphibians and reptiles except crocodiles of class Reptilia, they possess three-chambered heart and exhibit incomplete double circulation. Crocodiles of class Reptilia, birds and mammals, they have four-chambered heart and show double circulation, complete double circulation. We are going to start our present session with human cardiovascular system. We know the very basic function of this system. It is simply a transport system. It carries nutrients and oxygen to different tissues of the body and removes carbon dioxide and other waste materials from the tissues. The main components of human cardiovascular system are four-chambered heart. This is a central pumping organ of the cardiovascular system. And the next part is closed branched blood vessels. These are arteries and veins. And the main fluid that circulates in the vascular system is blood. These are the main components of cardiovascular system. Let's start the first part of cardiovascular system, the heart. It is the central pumping station of the circulatory system. By its pulsating action, it pumps blood to each and every tissue of the body. Why do we need heart? What would happen if there was no heart? To understand the critical importance of heart, we'll take a step back to remember the needs of each cell of our body. Our body is composed of over 10 trillion cells that work together in remarkable unity. The basic needs of cells are oxygen, nutrients, and removal of waste materials. Oxygen diffuses into blood at alveoli of lungs. How can it reach the cells of a toe from this lungs region? The rapid way for the movement of these materials, oxygen and nutrients, oxygen from the lungs region, nutrients from the intestinal region, is circulation of blood. Heart is the organ that circulates blood around the body. Heart functions as a pump in the circulatory system to provide continuous flow of blood throughout the body. Heart keeps the body tissues freshly supplied with oxygen and nutrients while clearing away the harmful waste materials. Without heart, the body would not be able to receive vital oxygen and nutrients. If the heart stops functioning, the body is starved of oxygen and will soon die if it is not restarted. This is about the importance of heart in our cardiovascular system. Heart is the thick-walled muscular organ. The wall of the heart is made up of cardiac muscles. Strong cardiac muscles are present in the wall of the heart. And heart is the pulsating organ. By its pulsating activity, it maintains the flow of blood, continuous flow of blood throughout the body. Coming to the external features of the heart is mesodermal in origin. We know the three germinal layers during embryonic development. They are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Heart is developed from this embryonic layer mesoderm, so it is said to be mesodermal in origin. Coming to the location of the heart, you observe the picture. Heart is located in the thoracic region. It is situated in the mediastinum. What is mediastinum? It is the central space in the thoracic cavity. The region in thorax between the two lungs is said to be mediastinum. If you observe, there is a slight depression in the left lung that is known as cardiac notch. Heart fits into the cardiac notch of left lung. So the location of heart is in the thoracic cavity, in between the two lungs, slightly towards the left side. Next point is size of the heart. Heart is of the size of a clenched fist. Coming to the weight of the heart, in case of females, it weighs 230 to 280 grams. In case of males, weighs 280 to 340 grams. Heart is heavier in males. Coming to the shape of the heart of human beings is slightly triangular. The upper part is wider and the lower part is narrower. The interesting point in the heart of mammals is the apex is slightly turned to the left side. Where is the apex of the heart? The lower part of the heart is known as apex. But generally, the lower part is known as base and the upper part is named as apex. But in case of heart of mammals, the regions are identified with different names. For that, there is a specific reason. We have to remember the point, that is, when we talked about the heart of amphibians, we said that it has evolved from the heart of fishes. Fish's heart was tubular, the upper compartment was ventricle and the lower one is atrium or auricle. As evolution took place, the atria or auricles came up. So the upper part is termed as base and the part with ventricles is said to be the apex of the heart. That's why we say this point as the heart of mammals, the heart of human beings. The apex is slightly turned towards the left side. Let's now get into the next part of external structure, pericardium. What is pericardium? Peri means around, cardium is related to heart. So pericardium is present around the heart. Heart is covered by double-walled pericardium. What are the two walls present in the pericardium? They are outer fibrous pericardium, this is outer layer, and the next one is inner serous pericardium. The inner layer is said to be serous pericardium. The serous pericardium is again two-layered. The two layers are outer parietal layer and inner visceral layer. The outer parietal layer is fused with fibrous pericardium. It is present next to fibrous pericardium. So it is fused with fibrous pericardium. And the inner visceral layer is adhered to the surface of the heart and forms the outer layer of the heart, that is known as epicardium. This point we will discuss later, that is in the wall of the heart. The two layers of inner serous pericardium, the parietal layer and visceral layer, are separated by a narrow space known as pericardial space. This space is filled with pericardial fluid. This fluid performs some important functions. What are the functions of pericardial fluid? This fluid acts as lubricant and reduces the friction between the two membranes of pericardium. And it also allows the free movement of the heart during the heartbeat. This is about the pericardial layers, pericardial space and pericardial fluid and its functions. Let's talk about the wall of the heart. The wall of the heart is made up of three layers. They are outer epicardium. This is made up of simple squamous epithelium and it is formed from the visceral layer of pericardium. Observe the picture here. This is the pericardium, outer fibrous pericardium here. These are the two layers of serous pericardium, outer parietal pericardium and inner visceral pericardium. This inner visceral pericardium forms the epicardium. And in between these two layers, the space is said to be pericardial space and it is filled with pericardial fluid. So epicardium is outer layer in the wall of the heart. And next layer is myocardium. This is a thick layer of cardiac muscles. It is made up of cardiac muscles. This is an important layer for the contraction and relaxation of the heart. And the innermost layer is endocardium. This is a thin layer of squamous epithelium. It is known as endothelium. This is endothelium found in the endocardium of wall of the heart. The endothelium covers the heart walls and also continues with the endothelial lining of the large blood vessels connected to the heart. This is about the layers present in the wall of the heart. As already known, human heart has 4 chambers. They are 2 atria or auricles. These are upper smaller chambers. This is the right atrium and this one is the left atrium. These are the upper smaller chambers. Next are 2 ventricles. These are lower larger chambers. This is right ventricle and this is left ventricle. These are the 4 chambers of the heart visible from the outside. We find 2 depressions on the outer side of the heart. These depressions are grooves. They separate the different chambers of the heart from one another. The first groove is coronary sulcus or atrioventricular groove. Observe the picture. Coronary sulcus, it is a transverse groove. It is a deep transverse groove that separates the upper chambers of the heart atria from the lower chambers ventricles. So atria and ventricles are separated by a deep transverse groove known as coronary sulcus. It is also known as atrioventricular groove as it separates the atria from the ventricles. And the next groove is interventricular groove. As the name indicates, it is present between the 2 ventricles. Inter means in between. So this groove is present in between the 2 ventricles, in between the right and left ventricles. In human heart, we find 2 interventricular grooves. On one side of the heart, there is anterior interventricular groove. On the other side, we find posterior interventricular groove. So, totally 2 interventricular grooves, anterior and posterior interventricular grooves are found in the human heart. The coronary arteries and their branches are lodged in these grooves. I'll show you one important structure in this picture. The muscular pouch-like projection from each atrium is known as auricular appendix. This is the atrium of the heart. Here there is a small conical ear-shaped pouch projecting from the upper portion of the atrium. This is known as auricular appendage or auricular appendix. What is its significance? It increases the atrial volume slightly. Up to now, we have discussed the external structure of the heart, about the shape, location, size of the heart, pericardium, different layers present in the wall of the heart and the external appearance of the chambers of the heart and the grooves observed on the external surface of the heart and auricular appendix. Before going to the details of internal structure, let me mention some basic points of the circulatory system first. Then we'll take up the next part, that is complete internal structure of the heart. The first point I would like to mention is the right chambers of the heart, both right atrium and right ventricle, always contain deoxygenated blood. It is shown with blue color. So blue color indicates deoxygenated blood in this chapter. Coming to the left side of the heart, we always find oxygenated blood in left chambers. So left chambers contain oxygenated blood and this is shown with red color. How to avoid confusion? Which side of the heart has oxygenated blood? Coming to the location of the heart, Our heart is situated slightly towards the left side of thoracic cavity. So left chambers contain oxygenated blood. Now you can easily remember this point. As heart is present slightly towards left side, the left chambers contain oxygenated blood. And right chambers are always with deoxygenated blood. How can we differentiate the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood? In the respiratory system, we have already learned that oxygenation of blood occurs at lungs region. Lungs are our respiratory organs. Heart always supplies or pumps deoxygenated blood to lungs. Inside the lungs, oxygen is added to the blood and carbon dioxide is removed. Then that oxygenated blood from the lungs reaches the heart. So heart supplies deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Inside the lungs, at the alveolar region, gaseous exchange takes place and carbon dioxide is removed from the blood and oxygen is added to it. Then that blood is known as oxygenated blood and it is sent to the heart for circulation. This is about the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. How does heart receive and pump the blood? All of us know the answer pretty well. That is through blood vessels. The two main types of blood vessels are arteries and veins. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart and veins carry the blood towards the heart. So heart pumps the blood through the arteries and receives the blood through the veins. Arteries carry oxygenated blood. That's why here they are shown with red color. But single exception is there, that is pulmonary artery. It carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to lungs for oxygenation. As lungs are our respiratory organs, the blood supplied to the lungs from the heart is deoxygenated blood. And veins carry deoxygenated blood generally. That's why veins are shown with blue color. But the exception is pulmonary vein. It carries oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. As lungs are respiratory organs, the blood flowing in the pulmonary arteries and pulmonary veins is different from the normal arteries and veins. Let's now discuss in what way heart acts as pumping station of circulatory system. We can compare the motor pump used in our house water supplying system with the heart. So heart can be compared with motor pump of water supplying system. Here the motor pump collects the groundwater through these pipes. It pumps that water either to storage tank or directly to the service points taps through other pipes. So water is drawn through one set of pipes and it is supplied through another set of pipes for the entire house requirements. Likewise, heart receives the blood through the veins and it pumps the blood through the arteries. But we find one difference between these two supplying systems. In case of this system, water is drawn and it is supplied directly. Single pump we find in case of this system. But in case of heart, even though it is a single organ, it shows two pumps. The first pump receives the blood from the body organs and sends it to the lungs. So the first pump, it receives the blood from the body organs, deoxygenated blood from the body organs. Then that blood is sent to the lungs for oxygenation. That is the first pump. The second pump receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs and sends it to the body organs. That means in the second pump, oxygenated blood is received and pumped to the body organs. I'll explain these two pumps clearly with separate picture now. The deoxygenated blood from the body organs is first carried to the right atrium and then to right ventricle and finally to the lungs. This is the first pump. So the blood from the body organs, that is deoxygenated blood, is carried by the veins to the right atrium. From the right atrium, it reaches the right ventricle and finally reaches the lungs for oxygenation. This is the first pump. Coming to the second pump, the oxygenated blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary veins to the left chambers of the heart. First reaches the left atrium and then reaches the left ventricle. Then it is supplied to different body organs. This is the second pump. So in the second pump, oxygenated blood is flown. This is the direction of flow of blood in our body. Left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood to different body organs and right ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Now I'll explain you the septa present inside the heart. What are the septa? Where are they located? The septa are nothing but partitions separating the different chambers of the heart. What are the different septa present inside the heart? First one is interatrial septum. Inter means in between. Atrial septum means it is present in between the two atria. So the septum that is separating the right atrium from the left atrium is interatrial septum. And the next one is interventricular septum. This is present in between the right and left ventricles. This separates the right ventricle from the left ventricle. These two septa are present between the right and left chambers of the heart. We already know the point that the right chambers of heart contain deoxygenated blood and left chambers contain oxygenated blood. So these two septa prevent the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Next septum is atrioventricular septum. As the name itself indicates, the septum is present between the upper chambers atria and the lower chambers ventricles. Here there is atrioventricular septum. This is a membranous septum and it bears atrioventricular pores. Let's have a small discussion on the valves. What is valve? Generally, valve is a component in piping system and it is used to control the flow of fluid through the system. Here, this is the piping system and this moving yellow colored one is the valve. Here, the valve is regulating the flow of water in this piping system. When the valve is open, water is flowing forward. When valve gets closed, the flow of water is stopped. This is the mechanism of working of the valve. Then what is the importance of valves in our cardiovascular system, particularly the heart? As the heart is the pumping station of circulatory system, blood flows continuously through different chambers of the heart. Valves regulate the flow of blood inside the heart. Blood passes through the valves before entering and leaving each chamber of the heart. They act as one-way inlets or outlets of blood. Heart valves are mainly composed of fibrous connective tissue. As the heart muscles contract and relax rhythmically, the valves open and shut, allowing the flow of blood and preventing the backward flow of blood. When the valves open, the flow of blood is allowed. That means blood flows forwards. When the valve is closed, it prevents the backward flow of blood. Like this, by opening and closing actions, valves regulate the flow of blood. These are the basic concepts of circulatory system, particularly the heart. Now we'll get into the next part, that is internal structure of heart.